Here's Pete working on his latest creation, which we're calling the Master Blaster. What is it, Pete?
It's a sandblasting cabinet for getting paint and rust off metal, basically, because we're too lazy to sit there and sand it. And who wants to do that, really? It's something we've dreamed about for years, owning one of these. And rather than spend a lot of money on one, we thought we'd spend a lot of money on making one. The box is a plastic box that used to contain the lathe,
right,
which Trent has kindly donated. And we've got some wood here, which is from some old shelves that came from someone's kitchen once. And we've got a couple of light fittings that came out of Trent's house in there. We've got some jeans that were probably Richard's. We've got some Perspex that I had to go to a shop and buy. That's about it, really. Oh, and we got the sandblasting gun too.
Right.
We're hoping it's going to work with our compressor. We're going to find that out. What we're doing is we bought some gloves.
So show me the glove again, Pete. So just heavy duty, sort of chemical resistant.
I don't know, they're sort of very rubbery. So that goes in there. That will be bolted in place, and then you whack your hand in through. This should really be sealed up around here, but you know we're gonna wing it.
We're hoping that will form enough of a baffle that the sand won't fly out there. This is some sort of sealant. This is some sort of sealing foam around the...
That's just that stuff you get for lagging your pipes. So I just need to find another way of holding that down. We're going to use some straps for tonight, hopefully.
Just octopus straps, probably.
Like that, or
bungee cord, tie down, something like that.
And we'll get the compressor down here. We've got some aluminium oxide to use as the blasting media. Yes, thank you, Trent, for the
very good. There. I'll let you get on with it.
Thanks very much.
Oh, we're back in the wheel building workshop with Trent. This is my wheel from last week that we took the tyre off. Trent's about to get serious. I saw this when I came in. I wondered what it was doing here. It's a blowtorch. First thing we want to do, while the wheel is still in one piece, is remove the discs, because we've got the rim to hang on to.
Unfortunately, it's going to. I would say the disc bolts will be they'll be well rusted inside the hub. The bolts are steel, the hub is aluminium, and they will have reacted together, building up, and the threads will be built up full of white gunk, basically. And when you're trying to undo it, this gunk just seals the threads together, and hopefully with a bit of heat it'll expand the aluminium, leaving a bit more space in there for the threads to undo. Yeah. Fingers crossed.
Being a Cagiva, the bolts are made out of Italian cheese. So yeah, the heads of those bolts are not going to stand up to any torque because they're so seized in there. So you're heating in behind?
Yeah, just heating the actual aluminium hub. So
why? Because that's more likely to, that expands easier?
Yeah, aluminium will expand quicker than the steel, and thus breaking the lock between the steel and the aluminium. Got to be a little bit careful with aluminium. It probably won't be so bad with this, but if you heat it too much, it'll obviously melt.
Do you have to get it glowing, or?
Well, that's the problem with aluminium. It doesn't glow. It just suddenly goes from being solid to being a liquid in a matter of seconds. And obviously, once it's liquid, it's too late,
and we cry.
Yes.
Oh, there we go. Where are you pointing that flame?
Just to those oily rags over there.
Alright, so what?
So you can see how much lubricant that those lovely Cagiva people put on there.
None.
Precisely none. I'm surprised it's not more corroded than that.
Yeah, actually it doesn't look too bad. So Trent's got a bit of work ahead of him. So Richard's working away on his BMW, the number 2 bike that he's putting back in one piece. You've decided this bike is nearly ready nearly on the road, so you've decided to work your way from the back to the front, I believe, over every nut and bolt.
And and it looks fine. Found a couple of loose ones. Obviously, you just get a bit distracted when you're doing things over the weekends, the weeks we've been doing it. So just have to check everything and then make it a little list of anything you observe, which you realise you've got to come back and have another look at now.
So not too far off being on the road, this bike. There we go. 2 discs. I think that, it is hot. What?
Oh, we'll be around the inside
Yeah.
where the heat's just been.
I think they're 280mm discs, and they're in quite good nick. Those discs, aren't they? Really? They're not.
Yeah, not too bad.
They're not. They're definitely reusable.
Note there's an arrow on the up here, so it's directional.
Right.
So we're going to make sure we put it on the right way when it goes back on.
Okay, now for the spokes. Point out that these spoke nipples are rat shit and need to be replaced. They're rusting, and I think they can sort of, the corrosion can eat away at the rim as well, can't it? Once the corrosion starts up there, the hole that the spoke protrudes through and the nipple goes in, it sets up a reaction there, and it can actually rot out the rim if you don't replace them. So, but when I buy new nipples, I'm unlikely to get a set of good, i.e. non-Kajiva manufactured nipples that will fit these spokes. They'll have a different thread. So I may be up for a whole, even though these spokes are really too good to throw away, I might be up for a whole new set, unfortunately. Can you actually just put a flat screwdriver in there and have at it, or?
You could do.
One quick method, if you're going to throw the spokes and nipples away, is just get a set of bolt cutters and just cut the spoke. The nipply bit of the spoke comes out there, and the other end of the spoke comes out of the hub, and you know, it makes the job a lot quicker. But Richard can probably tell you what happens when you do that, which is something he wasn't expecting.
Well, I used an angle grinder, of course. The appropriate method of removing, and they come out like bullets.
Because there's tension on there, obviously.
Much more tension than I appreciated. So as soon as it cut, it shot out. If it had hit you, if you've been doing it towards you, it would have hurt.
Yeah.
It would have hurt. So yeah, just care obviously pointed away from you, and they'll travel like a couple of metres.
Pointed at you.
And some small
At your mate's ass or something, or his nuts or something like that. Depending on how much you like your mate. I can see around this side that the spoke's just turning with it.
Yeah, it's probably easier if you can get a spoke
So this
spanner
is
on
sort
there.
of a... No, that's not the one I want. I want this one. This is like a spoke spanner that does a bunch of different sizes. The nipples have got flat sides on there for this to lock onto. There you go, that sounds like it did something, doesn't it?
Sure does.
Right, so there we go. One manky spoke nipple. So Pete's suiting up, ready to go. Psyching himself up. The box has been secured with a what is that?
Tie down.
Ratchet tie down.
Yeah.
You can just see, you can see the gun there. That's Pete's subframe off his bike. There's a hose running down into this bucket of stuff down here. It's abrasive stuff. Sucking it up.
Well, there's lots of sand in there. It's just not doing it fast enough.
We need more power.
We need more power, yes. Still some instructions here, which we better have a look at, I guess. I was trying to put this
Alright, turn up the compressor.
Okay, sorry.
Trent just pointed out that before dismantling the rim completely, you really need to check basically for any offset of the hub. Sometimes the hub is not central to the wheel, is that right?
Correct. Probably most often on this type of bike we've only got a single disc. The hub may be offset compared to the rim.
So sitting off centre from side to side.
Yeah, slightly off centre. I'm assuming, or educated guess would say on this bike, because it's got twin discs, then it's going to be the same measurement on each side. But we're just going to double check to make sure.
That's the mounting face where the disc was on. So you've got a ready-made straight edge there. And we've got this level that we found hanging on the wall. So basically what, I put it there, Trent, do I, across?
Just across the disc now. So I'm picking that's looking about 15 millimetres.
15 millimetres, what's that? That's 3/5 of an inch, basically, isn't it?
No idea. This is the metric world these days.
Yeah.
It's 15 millimeters.
Spill over.
In actual fact, this one's looking like about 13 millimeters.
Could that not be accounted for by the rim being a bit wobbly? Or?
It's possible.
So maybe we should measure it in.
Maybe spun it up to see how wobbly it actually was. But
Let's just measure it in more than one
Yeah.
spot and see
Fair enough.
what sort of average we get.
yeah, it's looking more like that's 15.
That's 15 there, is it? So,
Yeah.
so the rim's probably. I've loosened spokes.
Yeah.
So the rim is probably,
It's moved a bit.
and it probably, to be honest, it probably had a bit of a whoop in it in the first place. But if you had a bike where it was offset, obviously you'd have to record that measurement, remember it, and make sure.
When you true the wheel up, that you put those measurements back.
Are there likely to be different length spokes involved in that case? or-
Yes, quite likely. In this case, they probably won't be. They'll be the same length, but on a bike like this one here, they'll have different length spokes on each side. So,
Right.
so
Right.
yes, definitely.
I better get back to taking these bloody nipples out. Right, so I've got 2 of them out so far, you can see. What I've done with this one is I've just loosened that using the spoke spanner, and then I've got, at Trent's suggestion, a power drill with one of those. That's actually an impact driver bit out of an absolutely rubbish impact driver that I don't think has removed one bolt to date successfully, but so I just fitted that into the chuck of the drill. There we go. And now it's only going to take me 5 hours instead of 10. These are the nipples. I managed to get most of them out intact, but here's an example of where it can go wrong. That one just all, as I was putting the spoke spanner, heaving it around with a spoke spanner, it just started to collapse and split and fall apart basically. So despite my best efforts, I couldn't rescue that one, so I hacksawed that spoke to get it off. I had 2 others that, I mean, there's an example of one that I got off cleanly. I don't know whether you can see through it.
See through there, yeah.
Can't see through that one because it's got the end of a spoke snapped off in it. So I had I think I had 2 snapped spokes, which
That's pretty good.
that's not too bad, I suppose, but it doesn't inspire confidence in the remaining ones that came out intact. They've obviously been subjected to the same treatment as the ones that broke. So you sort of think, how close are they? You know, how fatigued are they, and how close are they to breaking? If I use them again, you know,
You'll find out.
you'll
If
find.
the wheel collapses, then you know they were too far gone.
If I find myself going over the handlebars,
Yeah.
here it is in bits. There's the rim, lovely Spanish-made Acron rim, which is now probably unobtainium. And here's the hub and the spokes. Some of them, the ones that sort of fit on the inside, have got a kick in the end of the spoke,
Yeah.
which is not uncommon. I'll take that spoke out. A lot of bike spokes have that,
Yeah.
but righto. So this one, it's got a nice bit of corrosion on it as well.
We're getting there.
I mean, that's got a little bit of a bend in it, but I think that's just happened.
I reckon we'll be.
Do you think that's meant to be like that?
No, could be like that, yeah. Some of them have more bend than the others.
That hasn't just happened in the process of me
No.
undoing it, or
No, I don't think so. Because you can imagine the ones on the outside need to turn in on a sharper angle. So you would expect them to have a sharper kink in them than
maybe they're longer.
inner
as well.
ones.
Bloody hell! So yeah, at least it's in 2 pieces, and I can now move on with refurbishing the hub
Yeah.
and try and work out where I'm going to get spokes and what kind of spokes I need. And there we go, Pete's Beastie, still well and truly in pieces.
There are some nice clean pieces up here though, you might see, and some spares in there, filter and oil filter, spark plug.
Stay positive, Pete.
I am being positive. It looks a lot worse than it is.
Alright, well we'll see you next time on
Garage Night.